Imagine walking through a dense forest where towering trees block out most of the sunlight. The air is thick with moisture, and giant ferns and lycophytes surround you on all sides. This is Kansas anymore. Welcome to the Carboniferous period, about 300 million years ago, when Earth's atmosphere had much more oxygen than today, thanks to these vast forests. But here's the kicker. Back then, the oxygen levels were significantly higher than they are today. Imagine breathing air with around 30% oxygen compared to the roughly 21% we have now. Akin to hiking at high altitude, but feeling that way all day, every day. That's what it was like for those ancient Carboniferous forests. And you thought trees today were big. The towering giants of the Carboniferous would put modern trees to shame, growing to incredible heights thanks to the abundance of oxygen in their atmosphere. Now picture this, trees weren't just tall, they were massive, some growing over 40 meters high. You could stand next to one and feel like an ant in a world designed by giants. The roots of these behemoths would dig deep into the soil, stabilizing entire ecosystems. But here's where it gets eerie. There was no escape from this thick blanket of oxygen. It wasn't just trees, it permeated the entire ecosystem. The air was so rich with oxygen that if you had a fire back then, it could spread rapidly through every crevice and cranny, making fire a constant threat lurking around every corner. And now for the twist, this hyperoxygenated world didn't last forever. Around 300 million years ago, during the late Carboniferous period, something changed. The climate began to shift, and oxygen levels started dropping. It's as if the Earth itself was exhaling all that extra air it had been holding in. For millions of years, these lush forests thrived. But then suddenly, silence fell as environmental changes altered the very conditions that allowed such vast vegetation to flourish. But wait, there's more. As you explore deeper into this ancient forest, you start to realize something fascinating. Back then, the air was richer in oxygen, making it possible for giant insects and plants to thrive on a scale unseen today. Imagine breathing in air that contained about 30% oxygen compared to our current 21%. It's like living in a world where your senses are heightened. Imagine walking through those dense woods at night with the knowledge that every breath you take is different, invigorating, and full of life. Now here's where it gets truly insane. Those massive trees that dominated this landscape didn't just grow tall, they grew wide too. Some species had trunks as thick as houses and leaves, like giant umbrellas blocking out the sun, creating a world of perpetual shade with every step shrouded in mystery. However, unlike today, the air was rich with oxygen at around 30%, making it easier to breathe despite the dense forest canopy. But here's where things get really spooky. These forests weren't just home to trees. They housed creatures that would give you nightmares. Giant insects buzzed through the air, some as big as your hand, with wingspans up to 75 centimeters wide. Imagine being chased by something like that. These bugs were predators in their own right. And let's talk about the ground level. The forest floor was covered in lush vegetation and diverse fungi. It wasn't just towering trees above, it was a world carpeted in vibrant greens. Dense underbrush and thick layers of plants would make navigation challenging, ensuring you could easily get lost in these ancient forests. But here's another mind-blowing fact. All this lush growth had a dark secret. As these forests thrived, they stored massive amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, which we know today as coal and other fossil fuels. The air composition you breathe now is not directly thanks to the Carboniferous period, but rather shaped by the complex interplay of geological processes over millions of years. This was indeed a critical era for peat formation, laying down vast deposits that would later become coal beds. Now for the real gut punch. Those towering trees that seemed so majestic and eternal were actually destined to become something entirely different. As they died off, their remains got buried under layers of mud and sand, compressed over millions of years into coal. The Carboniferous forests you see in reconstructions were a fleeting moment in Earth's long history, setting the stage for the coal deposits that fuel our modern industrial world. But here's the real kicker. As those carboniferous forests began to decline, so did the high oxygen levels that sustained them. The air became thinner, signaling significant changes for these ancient ecosystems. And what replaced the vast swamps? Smaller trees and shrubs adapted to lower oxygen conditions. It was like a dramatic transformation of an entire planetary biome over millions of years. Imagine walking through these forests, knowing they are fleeting phenomena in the grand scheme of geological time. The Carboniferous period is indeed haunting, as it marks the rise and dramatic decline of vast coal swamp forests that thrived for millions of years, but eventually gave way to new ecosystems. Each tree you see represents a brief chapter in Earth's history, yet together they created an atmospheric composition vastly different from today's, profoundly shaping our planet's future. But here's where things get even scarier. This wasn't just about trees and oxygen levels. The shift also meant changes in weather patterns, soil composition, and water availability. It's like everything you knew was shifting under your feet. This isn't just the death of an ecosystem. It's a profound transformation that reshaped the planet. And here's one last mind-blowing fact. As those forests died off and were buried underground, they released vast quantities of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, far exceeding what storms or volcanoes could produce. This process transformed ancient atmospheric chemistry on a scale that reshaped global climates over millions of years. So here's what you need to know. Every time you flip a light switch or charge your phone, you're tapping into that ancient world. The energy we rely on today is literally the ghost of forests from hundreds of millions of years ago. And now, as we face our own climate challenges, it feels like history is repeating itself. But there's one final twist. This isn't just about the past, it's a cautionary tale for us today. We're facing similar shifts in oxygen levels and carbon dioxide emissions. The Carboniferous period teaches us that even when ecosystems seem stable and thriving, they can change dramatically, often with devastating consequences. So here you are, walking through this ancient forest, breathing in an air rich in oxygen that made it all possible. But as you look around, you realize something profound. Everything is fleeting. The towering lepidodendron trees, the buzzing insects, they're just a blink in time. This was a world designed to vanish, leaving behind only shadows and coal, forever marking its existence through the layers of rock beneath our feet. And that's what makes the Carboniferous period so haunting. It's not just about giant forests or bizarre bugs. It's about the inevitability of change. What you see today is just another moment on Earth's long journey. But for those ancient giants, their time was fleeting, and ours might be too. Imagine stepping into a world where the air feels thick and heavy, like breathing underwater. The oxygen levels were around 30%, which means every breath you take today is less than what these creatures had back then. It's hard to wrap your head around that. You're surrounded by trees that look alien compared to modern flora. Some are giant horsetails towering over 30 feet tall with trunks thicker than a human body, while others are seed ferns and club mosses that far exceed the size of their contemporary counterparts today. These plants thrived due to higher carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere, which facilitated rapid growth but did not directly increase oxygen production as much as it promoted lush vegetation growth, characteristic of carboniferous swamps and forests. But here's the kicker. These Carboniferous period forests weren't just massive, they were also incredibly fragile. Any slight shift in temperature or CO2 levels could trigger their collapse. And that's exactly what happened. One day, these lush green jungles thrived, and the next, they began to disappear as Earth's climate changed drastically, transforming dense forests into swamps and eventually leading to coal formation. Imagine strolling through a carboniferous forest, marveling at towering lycophyte trees like lepidodendron and giant ferns that dominate this lush landscape. These plants are indeed ephemeral in geological time. Though they thrived for millions of years, their remains will eventually be buried under layers of sediment and transformed into coal, the very fuel that powers our modern world today. And it's not just the plants. The insects were giants back then, with some dragonflies boasting wingspans up to 70 centimeters, about as wide as an adult arm span. These massive insects thrived due to the high levels of atmospheric oxygen in the Carboniferous period, which reached up to 31% compared to today's 21%. Imagine walking through a forest where every creature looks like something out of a nightmare or a fairy tale, depending on how you see it. But here's the real punch. Everything we think is permanent and stable can vanish in an instant. The Carboniferous forests were a testament to this idea. They showed us that even when things look secure and beautiful, they're just one shift away from collapse. It's like looking at a sandcastle on a sunny day. It might seem solid now, but the tide will come. During the Carboniferous period, these lush forests teemed with giant insects and towering lycophyte trees. Yet they too were fragile ecosystems susceptible to rapid change due to shifting climates and geological events. So as you walk through these ancient woods, remember that every tree you see is not only a relic of a past era, but also a reminder of our own impermanence. The Carboniferous period was a snapshot of Earth's ever-changing nature, characterized by vast forests and abundant swamps that contributed to the formation of coal deposits we rely on today. And maybe that's the most profound part, knowing that we're just another chapter in this long story, shaped by the same forces of time and change that define the Carboniferous era. In short, nothing lasts forever. Not even giants. Imagine walking through these ancient forests and feeling like you're underwater. The air was thick with oxygen, containing around 30% more than today, making every breath feel heavier and richer. You might think the plants would suffer under such conditions, but they thrived instead. Picture trees reaching heights of 50 meters or more, towering over anything we have now, creating a lush canopy that dominated these prehistoric landscapes. But here's a mind-bender. All that oxygen didn't come from nowhere. It was produced by ancient forests dominated by giant lycopods, ferns, and seed ferns, covering vast swaths of the planet during the Carboniferous period. Imagine standing in the middle of one of these lush forests, surrounded by towering vegetation as far as your eyes can see. The plants were growing at an incredible rate, absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere like it was their primary task. And then, they died off en masse, sinking into the mud and locking away that carbon, leading to the rich coal deposits we mine today. So while you're marveling at the towering trees, remember they're just the tip of the iceberg. Below ground, there's a whole world of decayed plant matter turning into coal. It's like walking through a lush Carboniferous forest, and knowing beneath your feet lies treasure from an ancient time. Every step is on top of millions of years worth of history, contributing to the rich deposits that fueled industrialization. And here's another twist. These forests weren't just static snapshots in time. They were dynamic, shifting as the climate did, with seasons causing lush growth followed by periods of drought. The environment was constantly changing, reflecting Earth's ongoing cycle of creation and transformation. So when you think about these ancient Carboniferous forests, don't just picture towering trees. Picture a world in dynamic change, where ecological stability was fleeting and unpredictable. Every breath you take here is rich with oxygen at levels much higher than today, around 30%, compared to the 21% we breathe now. This environment fostered giant insects and lush vegetation, reminding us that what thrives today could be tomorrow's forgotten past.